Hello, and welcome to the history of Star Wars. Today's episode, the K-2SO. The K-2SO, abbreviated K2, the KX series security droid originally created for use in the Galactic Empire's armed forces. At some point, the droid encountered Captain Cassian Andor, a member of the Resistance movement, known as the Rebel Alliance, that sought to overthrow the Empire and restore democracy to the galaxy. Andor was able to reprogram the K-2SO to serve the Alliance. In 0 BBY, K-2SO participated in the Battle of Scarif, where he sacrificed himself so that Andor and Jyn could steal the plans for the Empire's moon-sized battle station, the Death Star. K-2SO was one of the KX series security droids assigned to the Imperial Stormtrooper detachment on the planet Wikarko. K2 heard a noise near a decommissioned Imperial cruiser. There he encountered Rebel agent Carson Andor and arrested him. K2 and Andor then fought each other until Kryes and Brismore found his kill switch. Andor then attempted to wipe K-2SO's memory clean. However, only 29.73% of K-2SO's memory had been erased, and he then strangled Carson. Kryes and Brismore were able to turn him off again. Carson gave K2 new orders to lead him, Kryes, and Brismore back to their ship. He escorted Carson and the twins as his prisoners, but came under attack by several stormtroopers. He, the twins, and Carson attacked the troops. When K2, Carson, and the twins got to their vehicle, it was surrounded by stormtroopers. K2 attempted to arrest Andor again. As Brismore drew the troops away, Kryes told Carson to take K-2SO because he had the intel they needed. After Carson's ship was destroyed, K2 still had 8.3% of his memory, and tried to decide either terminate or arrest Carson. Carson removed the base layer of his programming and shut him down. K2 turned back on and took out the stormtroopers. K2 and Andor then found a ship. Together they made their escape. K2 and Andor were sent to the Fitzner system to undertake a raid on an Imperial freighter. Andor used gas to trick the Empire into thinking that smugglers stole the cargo, as smugglers were known to use gas to raid transports. When they got to the cargo room, they found 3 Wookiees, and took them instead of the cargo. Andor then took them to the monastery moon of Cressera in the Barthan sector. There, he left K-2SO to look after the 3 Wookiees while Andor undertook a raid. At some point, K-2SO and Athix were sent to an Imperial base near Fortress Vader on Mustafar. There they arrested a team of rebels posing as stormtroopers in recovering for the Rebel Alliance. After the rebels stole the Proto-Saber, K-2SO picked up the rebels before Darth Vader could stop them from making their escape. At some time, while stationed at the rebel base on Yavin 4, K-2SO had a run-in with the droids belonging to the pilot of Senator Bail Organa. K-2SO accompanied the excavation team Bravo, which, in 0 BBY, helped Jyn escape from the Wabani labor camp. As Urso ran outside to escape, K-2SO seized Urso, threw her to the ground and told her not to resist as she was being rescued. Bravo Team's U-Wing transport, Bravo 1, encountered a minor technical setback and was unable to jump to hyperspace. The team proceeded to take refuge in an asteroid field in Wabani's star system, and K-2SO sent out a priority transmission to all available rebel vessels. An X-Wing starfighter squadron called Red Flight answered the call and saved them from incoming Imperial forces. Later, K-2SO accompanied his master, Carson Andor, and Jyn on a mission to rescue Jyn's father, so that they could gather information about the Empire's superweapon, the Death Star. In secret, Carson had received orders to kill Galen in order to prevent the weapon from being built. The Alliance had learned about the Death Star from an Imperial defector. K-2SO was uncomfortable that Jyn had been given a blaster since she disliked him. K-2SO and his companions traveled to the moon Jedha in order to find Saw Gerrera and acquire Bondi's message so they could locate Galen. Under orders from Carson, K2 stayed aboard their U-Wing while his human companions infiltrated the holy city of Jedha. Despite his instructions, K2 ventured into the holy city during the battle between the Imperial forces and Saw's partisans. K-2SO narrowly avoided being shot by Jyn, who instead shot another KX security droid. K-2 also intercepted a stormtrooper's grenade in midair and threw it at a group of advancing stormtroopers. K-2SO slipped away following the fighting and returned to their U-Wing transport. Meanwhile, his companions were captured by Saw's patrons, who brought them to the rebel leader's base in the catacombs of Cadria. After the Death Star destroyed Jeddah City, during a test firing, K-2SO picked up Carson, Jin, and Bondi and their new companions, Chirrut and Baze, in his U-Wing before Saw's base was caught up in the Death Star's blast. Due to the mission, the rebels learned that Galen had incorporated a design flaw into the Death Star, having learned from Saw that Galen was on the storm-stricken planet of Edu. K-2SO helped Carson fly the U-Wing there. Despite a powerful storm, the rebels managed to crash their ship near the Imperial Flight Station where Galen and the other scientists were being housed. K-2SO and the others stayed aboard the wrecked U-Wing while Carson ventured outside to find Galen. During that time, K-2 disclosed to Jin that Carson was going to assassinate her father. Jin left to find her father before Carson could kill him, only to be caught up in a rebel attack on the station. During that attack, Galen was killed by a stray Y-Wing proton torpedo. Amidst the fighting, K-2SO, Rook, and the others managed to steal an Imperial cargo shuttle and rescue Jin and Carson. The rebels then returned to Yavin 4. After the Rebel Alliance was able to reach a consensus on the Death Star, K-2SO accompanied Jin, Carson, and their companions on an unsanctioned mission to steal the Death Star plans from the planet Sharif. This rebel strike team became known as Rogue One. K-2 and Rook piloted the stolen cargo shuttle that they obtained on Edu. When the air traffic controller claimed that there was no such group with the designation Rogue One, K-2SO replied, "There is now," before taking off. After exiting hyperspace, K-2 and the rest of his team managed to travel through the Shield Gate and land on the planetary Imperial Security Complex, while the rest of the Rogue One unit staged a diversionary attack on the base. K-2 accompanied a disguised Jin and Carson inside the security complex. During the course of the mission, K-2SO accosted another KX unit and accessed its databanks to retrieve a map of the complex. The three rebels made their way to the data vault where the Death Star plans were being stored. After incapacitating the technician, K-2 assumed control of the computer and opened the door to the vault. At that point, K-2SO received news that the rebel fleet had arrived over Scarif and the Empire had locked the shield gate. Since they were trapped, K-2 suggested transmitting the plans but told him that the size of the data meant that the shield would have to be taken down in order to transmit them to the orbiting rebel fleet. Since the two had gained each other's respect during their adventures, Jin gave K-2SO a blaster pistol to defend himself. K-2 expressed surprise at her change in behavior. While Jin and Carson were combing through the files for the plans, several stormtroopers approached K-2. K-2 tried to divert the Imperials away, but his cover was blown when Carson spoke through the intercom asking why he had closed the vault door. K-2 engaged the stormtroopers in a gun battle while relaying the location of the data tape titled Stardust, which was the code name for the Death Star plans. Before Carson could retrieve the file, the door control was hit and the device's power was knocked out. K-2 implored his comrades to climb through the vault before succumbing to stormtrooper fire. K-2SO gave his final farewell to the pair at the cost of his life. He destroyed the door control panel so the stormtroopers could not open it again. In his last second before shutting down, K-2 created a simulation to see where Carson lived. He viewed it as impossible, but it gave him joy. Thank you for watching the history of Star Wars. Special thanks to Wikipedia, the Star Wars Wiki, for all information you heard today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you have, thank you. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.